Hey, what's up, YouTube fam? Welcome to my channel. Appreciate y'all for stopping in and spending time with the old man once again. Well, let's just get right into it. Since we're on the heels of this past weekend in Assen, uh, as we know, Bezzecchi was winning this thing or leading this thing coming up, and he dropped the ball again. Bezzecchi went out. Bezzecchi went out. He went out like an OG. Like he went out like a trooper. Mad respect for him giving it the business. I'm just gonna pull in. I don't know if I'm gonna get copyrighted for this or not, but Bez went out. He went out like a soldier. He went out like a soldier. Man, that's a tough one. It's a miracle Bez didn't that he was able to walk away from that. I mean, I guess he went to the hospital afterwards, I'm sure, checked him out, but apparently he seems okay. He didn't break anything. I mean, that could have easily been a life-ending conscious separating from your body event crash here. So mad respect, and glad that Bez is okay on that one. But with all that being said, let me get this off here. Bez lost the championship points lead, as you can see here with the standings here. Martin has taken the lead by a few points. It'd be cool to see Bez get back on track. I mean, he's the past three races or so. I mean, he hasn't scored any points at all except for a sprint race. But you know, he's been in a serious decline here, and I'm gonna blame that on Martin, because Martin he hadn't been right. Bez hadn't been right since Martin took him out a couple of weeks ago, or a couple of races ago. He just wiped Bez out. Bez hasn't been the same. So I'm gonna blame that on Martin. What else we have here? Full standings. Let's just check out the full standings. Algura, he took it. You know, he looks strong out there. Raul Fernandez, Trackhouse Racing guys, both Raul and Algura, Trackhouse Racing. I mean, those guys look strong. They look strong, and I could kind of tell, just looking at the post interview, at least one of the post interviews, they had Martin, Algura, and Raul Fernandez in the interview. And even though Martin, you know, he's taking the lead on this thing, I could see it in his eyes that he's concerned. I can see he's concerned because I tell you, Algura and Fernandez, not just those two, but you know, Marquez is still looming. He's still looming around. Of course, we have Fabio Di Gianantonio. I mean, he's in there too, of course. But you know, just the whole championship, I don't like the fact that I don't take any pleasure of seeing Bezzecchi just bottom out like he has, but at the same time, I do like seeing a competitive championship. You know, it's just much more exciting now, as opposed to him just blowing everybody out like he was, you know, a few races into the season. I mean, it looked like I said before, it looked like it was completely over early on. But just how the tides have turned. So, and I guess I'm just giving a little, like I said, a little real MotoGP insight news here before we get on. As you saw from the opening page here, it looks like Martin and Ogura looks like they're headed to Yamaha. I mean, I don't know, man. Just looking at how Fabio and Toprak and some of those other guys are faring over there. I mean, if Yamaha doesn't turn anything around, I mean, that sounds like Martin and Ogura are headed for a rough life. I I'm concerned about that. So, you see here we have Acosta here. Acosta seems like he has been suffering from carpal tunnel syndrome, and has had successful surgery on that. So he should be back shortly again. After he retired from this race this weekend. I was kind of caught off guard by that. I didn't know he was suffering from that. I heard the commentators mention something, mention arm pump, things of that nature, but it apparently ended up being carpal tunnel syndrome. But so he had a surgery on that. What else we see here? That was Agur's first MotoGP win. I mean, he's been looking strong. He's been looking strong, pretty strong all season. Been pretty consistent, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe has he had a couple of DNFs? I can't remember, but he looks pretty strong. Like he's going to be around and performing strong. Well, I can say that with him going to Yamaha now, so that may all do a 180 once he gets to Yamaha. We see some other. Let's see here. I thought I saw some other, but we already knew confirmation about Acosta going to Ducati, and Bagnaia. Looks like Bagnaia is going to Aprilia. I think we kind of already knew that, but I guess they have made it official now. So we got Marquez and Acosta for Ducati 2027. Martin Agur, Yamaha 2027. Bagnaia, Aprilia. I'm not sure, is Bezzecchi. I'm assuming Bezzecchi is going to, so it's going to be Bezzecchi and Bagnaia at Aprilia is what I'm kind of seeing for 2027. I'm not sure. I guess, I want Acosta. I kind of feel like Acosta leaving KTM is just, I like seeing KTM up front, near the front in the top 10. I feel like, so it's not just an Aprilia and Ducati show. I kind of like having KTM in the mix there, and Acosta being able to provide that presence, that KTM presence there. So I guess I'm kind of, I'm happy that he's going, hopefully, I guess, to a better bike with Ducati, but at the same time, I don't like losing the KTM presence. I'm not sure anyone is going to be able to replicate having KTM, up top. Even if he hasn't won any races per se, I mean, he's consistently in the top 10. Sometimes he's on pole. He's been up there fairly regularly. So I'm going to miss that from KTM. So we'll see. So I think that's going to be it for the regular MotoGP. Just kind of update. Like I said, I'm not quite sure how this is going to go. I'm just going to maybe mix a little real MotoGP in with the actual MotoGP 2026 gameplay. And with that being said, let's take a look at what happened with my career, my opening round in, I was opening in Thailand, if I'm not mistaken. And I should have had this up. I did have it up. Somehow or another it got closed down. So, all right, we have here we go. Career mode, MotoGP 2026. Thailand. This isn't, wait a second. Hold on a second. All right, so here we go. Am I getting ahead of myself? Score more points than, okay, this kind of, I saw an achievement come up while I was going on doing a race. And okay, so that's C. Buchanan that I had to. I got points for, I guess, scoring more points than him. All right, yeah. So we are in Thailand. Here we go. And at some point, I'm probably going to just cut myself out and just shut up and just let you watch. Just watch the gameplay. Once the race gets underway.
Good morning from Matt Burt at the Chang Circuit. We're just a few miles from the city of Buriram, ready to bring you the Thai Grand Prix. Just a few more moments and the images will take
it wasn't rainy.
So
that was a good thing. It wasn't raining, which we all knew it wasn't going to be.
It's been a long weekend, but we finally reached the moment everyone's been waiting for. Just a few more minutes and the race will start.
And let me, while I'm here, let me take a look at the last video. Because I'm curious. I was curious as to my qualifying time. Okay, all right. So that's what I was looking for here. Apparently, I qualified with a 1:46.61 to put me on pole. Okay. All right. Let me close that down. I digress. I apologize for that, but that kind of explains a few things to me because this is a continual review of MotoGP 2026. And I guess the reason I went back to look at that video was I was just curious as to what I actually qualified, what time I qualified at, because during the race, and I'm going to mention it as we go. All right, we're going to get back into the race now. But I have the settings set on adaptive in regard to the difficulty. So I'm assuming that it in real time just adapts to my setting, to my speed, to my skill level increase. It kind of adapts. And time hold up. Time out. I'm looking at these umbrella girls. I'm not sure what's happened. Is this just the MotoGP or Moto3 thing? I mean, are these Moto3 umbrella girls? Is this what we're doing in Moto3? I mean, is the budget that low? I mean, what's bruh? What's going on here? I mean, I thought we were supposed to let me see here. Let me just see here. Let me just see here. I mean, let's look over here. MotoGP girls 2026. I mean, now this is looking a little suspect here, but just in general, I thought we were, I thought we were on a higher tier, a little bit like what's going on? What's going on with this? What's going on with this? This is all that's in the Moto3 budget. All right, let's get it. Let's get to it. Get the volume. Okay, and I'm gonna, like I said, I'm going to just shut up and disappear for a bit.
Just a few more moments and the Thai Grand Prix will begin.
Okay, I'm back. All right, and y'all are gonna have to forgive me. I mean, like I said, this was my first race, so I'm kind of all over the track sometimes. Particularly with the pressure on like this, and me being impatient, and just the distraction of the AI riders too, just breathing down my neck, which surprisingly they've allowed me to open up a little gap at this particular point. And as you can hear too, I'm struggling with my gears. I still have a long way to go, for sure. But the reason why I was checking, just double checking my qualifying time, which I'm surprised I did a 140. And I think I said that in my last video. I've never done a 140 point anything. But, which I think ended up proving to be a mistake when it comes to adaptive. Because even though you see here, I've opened up a kind of a gap here. I never did a 140 in this race. Not really even close. And although the AI has allowed me to kind of get out in front for now, like all of these guys are going to start ripping off 140s, like 140, whatever I qualified as. All of them are going to start ripping off 140s, which I have no consistency to do that. So, like I said, here they've kind of, they're making me feel good by letting me get out in front a little bit, I guess. But when everybody just starts ripping off 140s, and they just start breathing down my neck and just hot on my heels on this track, I mean, I don't want to get ahead of myself. I'm gonna let you all see what happens when they start ripping off 140s. But these are my typical times that I normally run on this track. 141s. Maybe 141, and a half. Maybe low 141s. All right, I'm going to disappear again. Okay, now it was getting pretty critical in this point of the race. I wasn't trying to win the race per se. Well, I wanted to win. If I could win, I wanted to win for sure. But I wanted to be somewhat competitive. I just didn't want to be finished last. So with that being said, I restarted this race quite a few times simply for the fact that I kept crashing. I kept crashing a lot, getting impatient, making a lot of mistakes. And sometimes I even restarted a race if, say, like the head guy, it seems like A. Fernandez, this dude that's running number one, he seems to be him in my particular Moto3 career. A. Fernandez appears to be him. Like, he's that guy. So, there were even a few times where he crashed out and I restarted just because I don't know. I didn't want, I didn't want a free hammy, points just because he was out. I wanted him to remain, or try to remain, in the position that he's supposed to be in for the most part. So I didn't want to take any shortcuts with trying to, take any points away from him or anything like that per se. But anyway, it seems like once it gets to, I'd say, 3/4 of the race, I could tell from the previous times that I, did the race and failed and crashed out, that the AI, they can get rather aggressive. So at this particular time, I was conceding positions because I knew that they would take me out, or I would take them out, or both of us would get taken out, if I did, which I guess is probably, the right thing to do. So, but they will start kind of, asserting their dominance, so to speak, when it comes to taking positions. So towards particularly these last 2 laps here, I was being extra cautious not to let them take me out and not to get caught up in the little battles with them and taking each other out or something like that, and just kind of settling for finishing, in the top 10, which was my goal, was to finish in the top 10 if I could. And here, this last lap, I just fell apart. I fell apart trying to maybe recapture some spots. And I think I even lost another spot here at the end, at the finish line. But I beat C. Buchanan and got extra 25 points, so that was good. All right, I'm gonna pause it right here. But as you can see, look at these lap times. Look at these lap times. Everybody started ripping off 140s. I think I qualified with a 140.6, but it looks like everyone except, let me see here, everyone in the top 11 was ripping off 140s, below that time. Let me see what happens after this 12th place here. But that 140 was something that I just couldn't replicate. I think, if I'm not mistaken, in the course of this race, I kind of did consistent 141s, I think a 142, but pretty much all of them were 141 point something laps. And these guys, they just started balling out. Okay, so these were a little slower times here. I mean, but they were still, as you can see, they're all in the 140s. And I couldn't match that at all. Everyone was in the 140s. And if I'm not mistaken, in the qualifying, I was a good bit ahead of even the Fernandez guy. I was probably, I don't know, half a second or so, qualified ahead of him. And, that 140 time was a significant margin between, for me at pole and the last person on the grid. So I guess my point is, when it comes to the review, I think the next race, I'm going to turn off adaptive to see if that makes a difference, because to me, that just doesn't seem very realistic per se for, when it comes to, when you see just a regular race in the qualifying and stuff, you don't typically see the entire rest of the grid, like literally the entire rest of the grid, start ripping off those qualifying times like that, So, like I said, I'm gonna turn the adaptive off next go around and just see. I just felt like the whole AI grid was just hot on my heels, and they were. Usually in a race, there are gaps. There might be, the lead group and some pockets here. A couple of seconds separating each of the, other rider groups as we get, further down in the grid and whatnot. But for this, it just seems like, when I go back and I look at that video and you look at the mini map and you can just see them all, they're just single file ripping off 140 times, just hot on your heels is, that's a little bit much. So, but anyway, that was it. As you can see, so I finished 7th. I got some points. I was in the points. Finished in the top 10, so I accomplished my goal. I definitely have a lot more practice to do on learning that particular track. But as you can see here, the points. So I got 9 points so far. So, and I think that's pretty much it. All right, so I'll just stop it there, and I think I want to wrap it up because I've probably made this longer than I should already. But with that being said, next track in career mode, if I'm not mistaken, is Brazil. So I'm gonna be trying to learn that track. That's a new one for me. I have no clue, how to. So I got to spend some time. It's gonna take me a few days to get somewhat up to speed on that before I'm ready to start trying to qualify and doing that race per se. So, but with that being said, we're gonna wrap it up right here, and I appreciate y'all for stopping in. Be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, give me some pointers. Just like I said, just become part of the tribe and just see what happens here. See what happens. I think I'm gonna have a lot of pretty good content coming up. A variety of content with some different games and things of that sort, or simulators. So we'll see. But I appreciate y'all for stopping in. And like I said before, be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe. And I love y'all. Peace.